Tips to improve your English pronunciation. Pause the video to repeat phrases or words. Record your voice and compare it with the video. Actively listen, identifying familiar words or phrases. I decided to start swimming lessons because I wanted to feel stronger and healthier. I had always liked the water, but I never learned how to swim the right way. When I signed up for the class, I didn't know the trainer was from another country. On the first day, he greeted me in English with a big smile. I understood some words, but not everything. Right away, I felt nervous, wondering if I could follow his instructions. As we walked to the edge of the pool, he said simple words like kick, relax, and breathe. I tried to repeat them to remember. The trainer spoke clearly, but English still felt fast to me. I kept thinking, how will I learn to swim if I can't understand him? My stomach felt tight, but I reminded myself that learning something new is never easy at the beginning. I wanted to try, even if I made mistakes. When I finally got into the water, everything changed. The moment my ears went underwater, the world felt calm and peaceful. All I could hear was the movement of the water around me. It felt like the pool had its own language, soft, steady, and easy to understand. But each time I lifted my head, the trainer's English instructions came back. Water was simple. English was not. It was a strange mix, but I knew both were part of my journey now. The trainer showed me basic movements, and I tried to copy him. He said, "Strong arms," and I pushed the water with force. He said, "Kick steady," and I moved my legs as evenly as I could. Even when I did it wrong, he stayed patient. I learned that I didn't need perfect English to understand his gestures. Still, I wanted to know the words. I realized that if I improved my English, I would improve my swimming too. The two skills felt connected. At the end of the class, I sat on the pool steps, breathing slowly. My body was tired, but my mind was full of energy. I thought about how the water made me feel safe and how English made me feel challenged. Somehow, the combination made me excited for the next lesson. I understood that swimming would train my body, but English would train my mind. And both would help me become stronger than I expected. My first day in the pool had just shown me the beginning of something bigger. On my second day of swimming class, the trainer focused on teaching me simple English commands. He repeated words slowly, pointing to each movement. Kick, he said, showing his legs. Breathe, he added, lifting his head out of the water. Then came slow down and strong arms. I tried to repeat everything, but the words and movements mixed inside my head. I felt excited and confused at the same time, like my brain and my body were trying to learn two different things at once. When I entered the water again, I tried to follow his instructions. I kicked too fast when he said, "Slow down," and forgot to breathe when he said, "Breathe." My legs splashed everywhere, and my arms lost rhythm. The trainer laughed kindly and said, "Try again, you can do it." But trying again made me tired quickly. Every mistake felt heavier because I wanted to understand him. I kept repeating the words in my mind, hoping I would finally match them with the correct movement. After a few laps, the trainer gave me a longer instruction. I heard only part of it and thought he wanted me to swim to the deep side of the pool. I pushed forward, kicking hard, but I forgot to breathe at the right moment. Suddenly, I swallowed water and stopped. For a second, I coughed hard, trying to catch my breath. The trainer rushed toward me, asking, "Are you okay?" I nodded while coughing, embarrassed but relieved. It was just a small scare, but it made my heart race. He waited until I calmed down and said gently, "Listen first, then move." I realized he was right. I had rushed because I wanted to understand quickly, but learning takes time. He repeated the instruction again, slower this time, and I finally understood. I tried the movement carefully, focusing on each word: kick, breathe, strong arms, and this time it worked. My body felt more in control, and I felt a small spark of confidence growing inside me. By the end of the class, I was tired but proud. Even with mistakes, confusion, and that little scare, I had learned something important. English and swimming needed the same thing: patience. I walked out of the pool knowing I would get better with practice. The trainer smiled at me and said, "Good progress today." Hearing that made all the effort worth it. I couldn't wait for the next lesson, even if I knew it would challenge me again. On my third week of swimming lessons, something finally began to change. The English commands that once felt confusing started to make sense. When the trainer said kick, my legs moved the right way. When he said strong arms, I pushed the water with more power. I no longer needed to wait or guess what he meant. My body and my mind were slowly connecting, learning together. It felt like a small victory every time I understood him without hesitation. As my English improved, my swimming improved too. I started to feel the right rhythm between breathing and moving. The trainer said, "Find your flow," and for the first time, I understood exactly what he wanted. I inhaled, kicked, pulled, and glided smoothly across the pool. My body responded naturally, without panic or confusion. I noticed I could swim longer distances without stopping. It surprised me, because just a few classes earlier, I could hardly swim a few meters without getting tired. One day, during a longer practice, the trainer told me to do a full lap without stopping. My heart beat faster, but I nodded. I pushed off the wall and began swimming, counting every breath in my mind. Kick, breathe, strong arms, the words echoed inside me like a rhythm. Halfway through the lap, I realized I wasn't tired like before. My movements were steady, and I felt in control. The water didn't fight me anymore. It welcomed me, and I moved through it with confidence. When I finished the lap, I reached the wall and lifted my head. The trainer clapped his hands and said, "Great job. You're getting stronger." Hearing that made warmth spread through my chest. I felt proud of my swimming and proud of my English. It was the first time I truly saw how much I had improved. I wasn't just learning to move in the water, I was learning to listen, understand, and respond in another language. And somehow, the two skills supported each other. After class, I sat on the pool steps, letting the water move around me. I thought about how far I had come since my first day. I no longer felt lost when the trainer spoke. I didn't panic when he used new words. Instead, I wanted to learn more. I realized that every time I understood a word, I swam a little better. And every time I swam better, I felt more confident in my English. It was like finding a rhythm not only in my body, but in my whole life. One afternoon, the trainer told me it was time to try a more advanced exercise. He explained everything in English, speaking a little faster than usual. I tried to follow his gestures, but the instructions felt long and complicated. Words like rotate, extend, and keep your core tight all mixed together in my mind. I nodded as if I understood, but inside I felt lost. When I entered the water, my body moved in the wrong direction, and nothing felt right. I tried the exercise again, but I still couldn't match his movements. My arms splashed too much, my legs kicked unevenly, and I lost my breath quickly. The trainer said, "Try to focus," but the frustration was already growing inside me. I felt frozen, unable to do anything correctly. For a moment, I even thought, maybe I'm not ready for this. Maybe I should stop here. My confidence, which had been growing for weeks, suddenly felt small again. As I held on to the edge of the pool, I closed my eyes and tried to calm down. I remembered the beginning of my journey, the simple words he taught me on the first day: kick, breathe, slow down, strong arms. Those words were still clear in my mind. I realized that even advanced exercises were built on those basics. If I could remember them, I could try again. I took a deep breath and whispered to myself, one step at a time. I pushed off the wall and began again, this time focusing on the simple commands I already knew. When I kicked, I said kick in my mind. When I pulled my arms, I said strong arms. Slowly, the movement started to work. I added the new commands gently, trusting the rhythm I had built. For the first time, the advanced exercise didn't feel impossible. It felt like a bigger version of everything I had practiced before. My body began to follow the instructions naturally. When I reached the end of the lane, the trainer looked impressed. "Yes. That's it," he said with excitement. Hearing that made me smile widely. I had done it, not perfectly, but successfully. The fear and frustration melted away, replaced by a strong feeling of pride. I understood something important that day. Learning is not about getting everything right at once. It's about remembering what you already know and using it to face something harder. And with that lesson, I felt ready for whatever came next in the water. The day of the final test arrived, and I felt a mix of fear and excitement. The trainer explained the full routine only in English. He said, long kicks, strong arms, steady breath. No stopping. I listened carefully, surprised at how much I understood. A few months earlier, these instructions would have confused me. Now, they sounded clear, almost natural. I nodded with confidence, even though my heart raced inside my chest. When I entered the water, the world around me changed, just like always. The calm feeling under the surface helped me focus. I pushed off the wall and began the long swim. Kick, breathe, extend, I repeated each word in my mind. To my surprise, my body responded perfectly. Every movement matched the English commands exactly. I didn't feel lost or confused. Instead, I felt in control. My arms sliced through the water, and my legs kept a strong rhythm. Halfway through the test, I expected to get tired, but something different happened. The words I had practiced for weeks created a rhythm inside me. Strong arms, steady breath, the commands became like music guiding each movement. I understood every instruction the trainer shouted from the side of the pool. My English wasn't slowing me down anymore, it was helping me move forward. I realized I was swimming longer and faster than ever before. As I reached the final stretch, my muscles burned, but my mind stayed calm. I told myself, "You can do it. Keep going." The last few meters felt powerful, almost emotional. When I touched the wall at the end of the lane, I lifted my head and gasped for air. The trainer smiled proudly and said, "Great job. You're ready to train like a real swimmer." Hearing those words felt like winning a medal. I had passed the test in swimming and in English. I climbed out of the pool with a huge smile. At that moment, I understood something important. My English and my endurance had grown together. Every lesson, every word, every breath had brought me to this moment. I wasn't just stronger in the water, I was stronger in my mind too. As I grabbed my towel and looked back at the pool, I felt excited for the future. I knew this was only the beginning of a much bigger journey, both as a swimmer and as an English learner.